Good morning, sir.
Okay, so uh, let us just focus on the ending of the first act, and that and there I have chosen certain important dialogues and passages. Yesterday, I referred to the arrival of the boy and the related talks in between the characters, whereby I drew your kind attention to the employment of the symbols of goat and sheep, right? In traditional Christianity, the sheep is rewarded and the goat is punished. But here it happens, but in the reversed order, where we see the boy claiming to look after the goat and in turn being rewarded, while his brother back at minding the sheep and yet punished. So, can we talk about this in terms of the, the changing ways of the world? I mean, those which I just talked in little amount yesterday, that those who are honest, really honest, innocent, sincere, and hardworking, they lag behind as far as will do and are involved in several, several manipulations and other sorts of things. They get rewarded, they get paid well, they become prosper in terms of monetary, in that way. Uh, it can also be interpreted in the way we have been. Many times you might be thinking the altered views of the world, the altered ways of the world, whereby those who are really honest and innocent, they are more often victimized, they are more often the suffering humanity, right? But just the opposite, they seem to enjoy more pleasures and more privileges, right? So it can be done in that reversed order as well, and it can also be taken as a symbol of as a symbol that there is no god and there is no binary opposition of either the sheep or the goat. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm so sorry I got disconnected for a while. So, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, the second important fragment which I'd like you to concentrate on is uh, uh, the dialogue between Astragon and Vladimir, and they are still talking about as the boy leaps the stage. So they again talk about this boot episode. This boot episode, where I'm just reading out the passage. The passage reads like this: Astromo is saying, of climbing heaven and gazing on the likes of us. Vladimir, your boots. What are you doing with your boots? Then Astrogon says, turning to look at the boots, I'm leaving them there. Pause. Another will come just as me, but with smaller feet, and they will make him happy. They will make him happy. Vladimir, but you can't go barefoot. Astragon, Christ did. Vladimir, Christ? What has Christ got to do with it? You are not going to compare yourself to Christ. Astragon, all my life I have compared myself to him. Vladimir, but where he lived, it was warm, it was dry. Astragon, yes, and they crucified quick. Yes. Did you get the passage?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So just it has nothing so much special, but the speciality lies in the fact that Christ has always been compared to the common human beings. Common human beings. I mean, if you talk about Christ in terms of its prototype, that is Adam, then who is Adam? Adam is the common man, right? And as we are the common human beings, and as we are suffering, so did Adam, and so did Christ too. So the Christ is not, it hasn't been conceived as a God with the miraculous powers and with magical qualities, but he has been conceived as one of us, one of the suffering humanity, one of the sufferers, one of the human beings who are bound to be in this vast panorama of futility and anarchy. So, this comparing of oneself to Christ brings us at a more elemental level of affinities, more elemental, more basic level. And this is what I think to be important: basic level, elemental level, and elementary relationship between Jesus Christ, Adam, and we, the human beings. Right. So Christ, as I said, has not been conceived as a son of a great father with heavenly and divine qualities, but the way Christ suffered, and in spite of the suffering, the way he propagated the messages of love and affection and mercy and generosity and all those things, right? So that could have been the grand narrative. But while we talk about Astrogon's a statement when he says that I'm leaving my foot boot rather behind, so that other may step in and they may put it on and can be benefited. It's not a great sacrifice, it's not a great helping act, great act of help, but it is something, it is something. So what is your opinion on that? Yes. Yes? Are you there?
Sir, I think it again brings into light the importance of authentic experiences as comparing Astragon, a common man, he compares himself with Christ. So
Hmm.
I feel that it is again highlighting the importance of the
Authentic and
very personal experiences.
right. Great. Great. Somebody else? Yes? Yes. Anybody? Okay, so let's concentrate on the third important, next important piece of dialogue, which I think necessary to have some meaning, and that is uh, Astragon says, "How long have we been together all the time now?" Astragon says, "How long have we been together all the time now?" Vladimir, "I don't know. 50 years perhaps, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, 400 years, maybe the whole humanity and its from its very inception, from its very beginning." Astragon, "Do you remember the day I threw myself into the Rhone?" Vladimir, "We were grape harvesting." Astragon, "You fished me out." Vladimir, "That's all dead and buried." Astragon, "My clothes dried in the sun." Vladimir, "There is no good harking back on that. Come on." Yes, there is no good harking back on that. Come on. To me, this is important because it talks about the rule of the past. Already, we have seen, we have read the wasteland extensively, and I'm quite sure that we all would be agreeing to the fact that the wasteland is a futuristic one, but its future depends solely on the past. There is no future until there is a past. And T.S. Eliot has time and again taken us back into the recess of the past to forge a kind of future. But in this play, we don't have that coziness, that comfortable state of living, that shelter and the shade of the past. Unlike the Westland, waiting for Godot, and especially this paragraph highlights that past is no more. Past is no more living with them. Maybe past is irrelevant, maybe past is insignificant, maybe past is relevant and past is significant. That is again to be thought and to be read upon in a deep manner. But apparently, I think that they all are referring to the act of, as I have been talking in the very first class on waiting for Godot, perhaps I remember I did mention the amnesia, the state of forgetfulness, right? The state of forgetfulness whereby past no longer lives with us, right? And the past in that way can in turn be interpreted as the essences in that way. So past is no more means There are no certain essentializing quality or essentializing aspect which can be taken as a kind of recourse to help one or to redeem one or to give somebody a kind of salvation. Past is no more. Whatever is here, whatever is here, and whatever has whatever a character has to do, characters have to do, they have to do on their own. They have to make their own way without depending on either of the any of the system or belief or practice or set of certain determiners which in turn might help them. Minus all these things, the individual is left all alone to make a way, to create a way, and to do something solely on his or on her own. Yes, what do you think? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Acha, good. Okay, tell me. Huh? समझ में आया कि समझ में आया? Did you get the point or not?
Yes, sir, it is clear.
कोई कुछ बोल ही नहीं रहा तो फिर क्या आप समझेंगे तो? अरे हाँ हाँ ना ना, कुछ तो बोल रहे हैं आप लोग. चलिए.
Yes, sir. Understood.
हाँ. Okay. Okay. So let us now turn the page and let us make a leap to the second act, Act 2 of Waiting for Godot. Did you read the Act 2? Anybody? Somebody? Tell me. Okay, please somebody read it to me. Act 2. Yes.
Sir, Act 2.
Hmm.
Next day, same time, same
Hmm.
place. Estragon's boots from front center, heels together, toes played. Lucky's hat at same place. The tree has 4 or 5 leaves.
Now something
Enter.
is changing. You know? The tree has 4 or 5 leaves, and this is one of the major difference from the uh, Act 1. When you compare Act 1 to Act 2, and if you talk about similarities, we have several similarities, but as far as differences are concerned, this happens to be the first major difference. The tree has got precisely 4 or 5 leaves, countable, yes, Otherwise, lips are uncountable. Na? What uncountable? Or what do we call that? Countable, uncountable nouns. Yes.
Enter Vladimir agitatedly. He halts and looks long at the tree, then suddenly begins to move feverishly about the stage.
Hmm.
He halts before the boots, picks one up, examines it, sniffs it, manifests disgust, puts it back carefully, comes and goes, halts extreme right and gazes into distance off, shading his eyes with his hand, comes and goes, halts extremely left as before, comes and goes, halts suddenly and begins to sing loudly. Vladimir, a dog came in. Having begun too high, he stops, clears his throat, resumes. A
And
dog came.
resumes the song. Let me do it, please. The song itself. A dog came in the kitchen and took a crust of bread, then cook up with a ladle and beat him till he was dead. Then all the dogs came running and dog the dog a tomb. He stops, brutes, resumes. Then all the dogs came running and the dog's tomb and wrote upon the tombstone for the eyes of dogs to come. A dog came in the kitchen and stole a crust of bread, then cooked up with the ladle and beat him till he was dead. And all the dogs came running and dug the dog a tomb. He stops, brutes, resumes. Then all the dogs came running and dug the dog a tomb. He stops, brutes, and dog. Dugging a dig and dug the dong. Ding dong, a tomb. I would like you to recall the episode of Dog in the Wasteland because it gives us a clear cut compare and contrast. What do you remember as far as the Dog episode is concerned in the Wasteland? Yes, tell me. Tell me. Hello.
Sir, it was in the moment of the section of burial of the dead, wherein it was said that the two people were conversing, and the first one asked if the dead body has sprouted or not, and
Hmm.
and it was said that the dog should be kept away from where the body was buried, so that it doesn't dig it up again, because a dog is a
Ah,
man's loyal friend.
right. Yes, so we have several allusions to that. I won't be talking about, especially if I have to refresh my memory for a while. Then that dog episode conjures the allusions of Thompson's poem "The Hounds of Heaven," as well as we have the dog star Sirius, right? As well as we have the Greek allusions Osiris and Isis. Anyway, so the point is. Dog as a vociferous animal which suddenly he is loyal, but as far as digging up the grave is concerned, he is expert in that. He is expert in that. So digging tomb for a dog, digging a tomb for a dog, and all the dogs came running, and all the dogs came running, and then uh, what kind of dog he is referring to? Is he? I mean, I think the meaning is strikingly clear. Do it may be out of joint, do it may be a kind of fragmentation, or do it's quite a possibility that he may have recited this song to pass the time. But when we look at his mental state, as he feels disgusted, as he feels very much agitated, he comes and goes back and front, and suddenly he begins to sing it's a kind of kindergarten song. And I think the implications are serious, though simple, and this refers to the act of Second World War. The way the humanity has turned out to be dog like, eating, killing, dogging one another. You must have seen dogs. Have you ever observed the two parties of dogs when they bark at one another, they fight with one another, and the same analogy has been, to me, it has been implicated here to draw our attention to the severity and to the dog like quarrel and fighting among so-called modern nation state civilizations. What is your perspective? What's your take on this? Tell me. Yes. Hello.
Sir, can we not say that he's also trying to, for the people, the generations to come, he's also trying to say how to look back at past when he says, and wrote upon the tombstone for the
Hmm.
eyes of dogs to come,
Hmm.
as in like a lesson that could be learned from an
That
episode
could
that
be. That
happened in the
could be.
past.
That could be learned, right? That could be learned. Yes, obviously, obviously. But the fact is, we haven't learned, have we?
No, sir.
Yes. Some other observation. Anyway, so did you read this act or not? Tell me.
So,
G.
so I didn't understand this part of the song because after the song, the conversation Astragon and Vladimir have, Astragon accuses Vladimir that he was singing because Vladimir thought that Astragon is gone forever.
So
There's no relation of this song and Astragon. I
still
don't
you
understand.
still you're looking for some relational value. Huh?
So no, I couldn't understand Vladimir addressing Astragon as Gogo, or then
This is what I've been talking about. So you can't, you cannot, you shouldn't try to make any specific and causal, causal relationship and meanings which are coming out of that, right? So somewhere we have to, and especially me myself, I'm more prone to read the text as more in allegorical vein, right? More in allegorical vein. Though the text is everything, but we cannot make initiative further as far as the understanding of the text is concerned until unless we relate it with to something that is outside the text. Getting that? That is outside the text. As far as your observation towards the that the statement of this is what you are talking about, that Vladimir, he remains a moment silent and then begins to move frivolously, rather feverishly about the stage, and then he slowly crosses the stage. Vladimir turns and sees him. Yes, you again, and then don't touch me. And then Vladimir says, "Do you want me to go away?" No, and then did he go go? Don't question ever. I mean, yes. So it's all we have been talking about. If you are trying to understand, if you're trying to understand this very poem in the context of the mutual friendship or mutual dependency that is between Vladimir and Astrogon, there is quite a possibility that haven't you addressed somebody, some of your close friend, as a dog, as a as a as a as a dog, as a bitch, maybe?
yes,
Yes.
sir, we do.
आजकल तो भाई आप वेब सीरीज देखती होंगी तो लगता है कि पूरा वेटिंग फॉर गोडो वहीं आ गया हैं? और जो जो गालियां आप कभी सुन करके अपनी कान दबा देती होंगी, वो गालियां तो आजकल लगता है कि सबके सिर पे चढ़ के बोलता है, और लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं जैसे पूछिए मत। और बनारस में चूंकि आप पढ़ती हैं तो बनारस तो भाई गालियों का शहर ही है कुछ बोले भाई, है कि नहीं है?
Mm, yes, sir.
तो uh, I would rather ask you to concentrate this as an allegorical piece of writing where you go beyond the text, right? And even if you don't want to go beyond the text, and if you simply want to read it as a part of their living on the stage, then obviously he is singing a song. He's singing a song as we sing a song when we live all alone, as we do something to pass the time, as we do something to give us the sense that look, we are living, we are existing, we are human beings, isn't it? Otherwise, how would we claim that we live? हम कुछ भी करेंगे तो कुछ तो करेंगे ना. So even in that simple line of thought, it can be interpreted as an act of doing, which in turn proves that Vladimir is alive and he is very much existing. He is very much existing. Even it can be the elemental label of interpretation. Tell me. Yes.
Sir, I was
Yes.
G.
So I was just thinking that in the beginning of the play, when the directions in the stage setting is being told, they say that
Hmm.
tree has started growing 4 to 5 new leaves. There's this
Hmm.
idea of fertility coming in and hope coming into the play. But Beckett has beautifully and immediately he juxtaposes this idea by bringing in death. So is this his way of killing hope? Because that is what is happening in the society. There is no hope left. Because just as soon as the state setting changes into a from a barren tree to a tree that is showing signs of fertility, there's a sudden episode of death, which is very absurd. Because I don't think anybody would kill a dog for stealing bread, or ironically, Estragon or Vladimir.
Obviously, you're very much right because hope itself turns out to be a kind of hoax because there's no hope. There's no hope that someday the whole humanity will come to begin to do something in terms of sense and sensibility. Had it been so, we would have done it long back ago. So the way the text was written in 1953 with 54, and we are in 1020, do you really think that we have really made any progress? Have we? Have we? So this hope is okay. There must be a hope, right? But whether that hope really culminates, really translates into something really material, that is a different thing to think and to talk about, right? So the way this text has always been, most often quoted line from this text is nothing happens, nobody comes, nobody goes, it's awful. Nothing happens, nobody comes, nobody goes, it's awful. I mean, just look at that. The way it tries to discredit whatever happening and whatever the world view we have been with in terms of the creation of the cosmos, and then jivatma, and then paramatma, and then transmigration of the soul and the oversoul. Oh my god, what have they done? I mean, just try to look at the immediate experiences of the playwright in that way. As we have been talking about his little biography, he himself has been forced to be dislocated, to be displaced, and to be a perpetual wanderer in the wait for something to happen. Right? So, in that line of thought, Beckett must have some kind of hope, timorous hope, and it was there. That's why he could come back and he could talk about his own experiences in a different way. But the way the things were happening in 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 1010, 1020s, they are little different, but they haven't changed. They are not changed the way it ought to have changed. It ought to have taken place. What do you think, Akshita?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So there's also this poem by Emily Dickinson that hope is a thing with feathers. So
Huh,
you
huh.
can take it dual, both the ways that giving hope and being hopeless. Because that movie that you had referred to, Changeling, over there also in the end, I think hope is the worst thing that a mother could have at that moment, that maybe her son would come
अच्छा,
back.
तो
So
आपने
I
देखा
hope.
उसको?
हाँ जी सर, देख ली सर.
ऐसा लगा?
तो बहुत अच्छी थी, very very
बहुत अच्छा.
powerful.
Very powerful cinema. Very powerful. Very powerful. So yes, the hope is okay, है ना? The hope must be there, right? But the hope, see, a movie ends with the I mean, the movie ends with what? Has she achieved her final hope? The answer is no. Yes, na? Because she has achieved as far as bringing the culprit to the punishment is concerned, right? But has she got her son back? Perhaps no. And she says that, look, at least this episode of life where a son is reuniting with with his parents, this gives her a further hope that someday in the future she might meet her son back. Right now? So the hope deferred. The hope deferred. But this hope only is the key to survive. This hope is only way through which we are living. This hope to do better. This hope to pass MA, to crack net. And then cracking net results into different kind of hope, then hopes and hopes and hopes and hopes. It's an endless process. It's an incessant process, isn't it? It's a kind of deferral, deconstruction. I haven't been talking about that because it has to be done in the fourth semester. But deconstruction does, I must have given you certain references to that. It talks about defer and defer. This defer, the hope deferred, and it has been in the Bible itself. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, somebody else, please come up.
Sir, about this hope thing and the tree, which stands for hope, which has now 4 or 5 leaves, I
Hmm.
feel Beckett is also he's belittling this idea of hope. He mentions it here in the tree, but immediately when Vladimir mentions it to Estragon, saying that the tree has grown few leaves, and how Astragon dismisses the idea. So I feel he's also saying that how insignificant hope is, like everything else in this play. It is for no reason, and it can also be seen in how Astragon is how suicidal. So I feel he's also highlighting the insignificance of hope in this play.
Obviously, I mean, these are some small references, and the biggest thing is waiting for Godot, and Godot himself and herself doesn't arrive. So that should be taken as a touchstone method, right? So in between, uh, whatever is happening, it's all about their angst, their dissatisfaction, and the kind of life which they are forced to live in at the elemental level, bearing no human or even superhuman values and significances. Mahadev. Yes. Uh, I think I should stop here, right? Please do it. And tomorrow I shall be coming up with certain passages, important ones, and with the help of them, I shall be developing my further arguments. I'm using the word further in the ironical sense because it's all merry-go-round way. So we will be moving in a circle, coming back, going forth, coming back, going forth, and then only we shall come to an end with the hope to meet the Godot once again. But the hope is deferred, and the Godot will never come back. Maybe your Godot will come back. That's all for today. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.